We're still not. Oh, there we go. Now we're live.
Woo! Woohoo! Hello.
It's still not showing up.
I'm waiting to get the chat.
Now I got it.
Anybody there?
Oh, mine's showing up.
Anybody there?
You might have to do it, Ben, on a different. You have like Safari and Chrome, or are you on a MacBook, or are you on like a? Like
I'm on a really
MacBooks?
old Sony Vaio. it's that outdated.
Or you can pull it on your phone too.
Well, I have a Google Chrome for the video, so I'll just open up Mozilla for the chat.
There you go. Ah! Oh wait, that's you, Jasmine. I was like, oh, we have three. No, we have 3 viewers. I wonder if that's us or if that's new people. Hi guys.
Hello. Anybody there?
I mean, I am, but I'm on the video.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, do we just want to kind of start our questions? Come in as
Talk
they
to
come
us.
in?
Yeah. Hello, someone's there. Hi, Tamika. Friends, I've lost the thing. Oh, there you are. Chaos. Sorry.
No, I was just talking to myself more than anything. Sorry.
Hi, everybody.
Right. Ask the questions.
Sure.
It's purple.
It's
All right,
purple. We know you love it.
I'm so excited by that.
Mine's not. Alrighty. So we thought that in order to make sure that anyone watching who hasn't read the book yet can at least chat with us, we might ask some fun get-to-know-you questions and just have a bit of a chat about them first. So should I start?
Yeah,
Yes.
Go ahead. You start.
Okay. So we've all chosen a question each to ask viewers and each other. And my question is, if you were a dictator for a week, what would you do with your power?
See, that made me get very political very quickly. Because there is a very specific individual that would not be allowed anywhere. Like, they'd be stuck on an island that's the size of maybe a football field, and that's all they're allowed to do. We'll send them, like, MREs so they don't starve to death, because that would be terrible. And I think we all know who I'm talking about. And then make college free, because, good Lord, broke college student status is upsetting.
That's not really
Yes.
dictator.
One of my first ones would definitely make education free. Like, not just college, but all schooling. Step 1. Make reading mandatory.
I think that I would be like, everybody bring me all the Milo in the world to my house. And I'll drink it all.
No! Well, if I'm dictating a rival country, I'll be starting war with you over having all of the Milo then.
Oh, wait, if we're all dictating different countries, then can I just start the one that does all the media, just make all the movies and stuff? Because I finally watched an Australian film, and it was amazing.
Oh, what film did you watch?
It was a Cornerstone one. Apparently it was really important. Picnic at High Rock.
Picnic at Hanging Rock?
Hanging Rock. There it is. Yeah. It was an amazing film, but apparently the final chapter of the book was released like years later, and it made 0 sense. So they were really excited. It got removed in the final version.
Ah, yeah, I haven't actually watched Picnic at Hanging Rock, strangely enough.
It's interesting.
Don't know what to say about that. Like, Hanging Rock is actually somewhere nearby where I am, I think. But I haven't seen the movie or even been to Hanging Rock. Where is Hanging Rock?
Well, that's all right. Like, there are plenty of local monuments to me that I just have never been to, or have been to maybe once as a child and don't remember.
All right, so Ben's in charge of all movies ever, apparently.
Actually, there's one monument where I live, and that's the St. Louis Arch, but that's like 4 hours away from me.
That's a day trip. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's like kind of close, but also not really.
It's close enough to say that it's close, but not nearly close enough for it to be a plausible thing to do.
That's like my family.
Oh, no.
Your family? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Sorry. No, but my family does live 4 hours away.
Mine's like 10 minutes down the street.
Oh.
It was fortunate enough, though. Lucky me, my sister gave me a backup laptop in case I didn't get this one situated.
Ben, what's your question? Your break the ice question.
Next.
What are 3 things still left on your bucket list?
Oh. Oh, I'm going to have to think about this for a while. I've never actually written a bucket list.
Like, I have ideas of what my bucket list is, but I never actually sat down to write it. But obviously one of them is marry Emma Watson because, duh.
That's not mine.
Be a New York Times bestseller because also, duh. And then open up either a bookish cafe where you can buy books and food because I love those things, or a bookstore.
Do the cafe and then I can give you tea.
Yes, I'm all for this.
And I'll give you candles.
It all works.
Mood lighting, ambience, tea to drink. Excellent plan. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is that one thing that I'd really like to do is actually be at least semi-fluent in another language. Like, I really want to just be able to actually talk another language and not like high school level, I can say 3 sentences, but like actually talk.
Yeah, I think for alternate language, I can say maybe 20 words in Spanish, and all of them are insults. I know enough to know when I'm being insulted.
That's a start. That might actually be like the most important step of learning another language.
That way I know if I'm being rude by accident.
Spanish 101, how to know when someone's being rude to you. That's all I can think of for now. Julia, you take a while.
I think that my number 1 is probably to get published. I like Tamisha said that hers is to create a dream library, which that's definitely on my bucket list. I want to have like a designated room for my like built-ins all the way around, secret passageway inside.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely want. I don't know if it would be on my bucket list. I don't know what classes as being like bucket list worthy in my mind, but having like a library with those ladders that go all around and things as well would be awesome.
I always think of the library from Justice Strauss in A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, and the Beauty and the Beast library, like Tamisha says, that's one that everyone thinks of.
I would love that,
as soon as I
but
get
it's
my
also...
library.
Just get lost for days.
What was that?
I'm going to do the on the ladder where she's like, yes.
I saw a GIF the other day of that, but with Sam Tarly from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh, no, now I need to find
it. Sam. Oh.
I'm going to find it. Keep talking amongst yourselves.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen the latest episode, but Sam
I have.
Steps up. He steps up.
Not.
That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to ruin things. Because there are so many ways somebody can step up in that show. You still have no idea what he's done.
That's true. I saw that you voted for the same MVP that I did.
Yes.
On Twitter. So do you watch Game of Thrones, Julia? I can't remember.
Yes, but I'm like very behind. I'm in like chapter 5 and I'm trying to get caught up, but like every time I try to watch it, my kids won't go to sleep and they cannot watch it, obviously.
They cannot watch it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, my tries to
Maybe a
come
reason
out
to look forward to Sundays then.
next scene. I'm like, no, get back in your room.
Yeah, do not watch this.
There are far too many things to explain about this. You are not watching it.
Have you seen, there was like an article, oh, there it is, I found the GIF. Yes.
Oh, no.
Can you see it? I'll have to talk so you can see it.
It has his face over her body. That's even
It's my favorite. I want to use it for everything now.
That almost got enough of that. Oh no. That might happen by the end of this stream. I'm sorry if it does, because ugly laughs for me, like it's full on, like I snort, I giggle, it's terrible. I'm sorry in advance.
It's okay. I've inherited the snort laugh from my mother as well.
Someone understands the pain at least.
What? Final question.
Oh, mine is childhood nickname.
Excellent.
One of them was Casper, because even to this day, I'm incredibly pale. Like, I don't go to the beach in shorts very often because my, like, snow blindness, my thighs are so pale. But another one was Machuchi. I still have no idea what it means in English, but my grandmother, 100% Puerto Rican.
What?
Machuchi. It's a Puerto Rican phrase.
Oh.
It was my grandmother is one of the most adorable and loving people I've ever met. And she used to call me that all the time because she barely speaks any English. And because of that, you think I would speak Spanish, but I can't.
Classic. Meshi Bishi. Ah, that's really cute.
Jazz, what was your childhood nickname?
Well, the main one that I know my grandparents called me and still do call me was Jazzy Legs when I was little.
Why legs?
I don't know, just Jazzy Legs. I guess because, I don't know. I grew up with them. Like, my mum and I lived with my grandparents when I was little, so I guess it was from when I was learning how to walk and things, or something like that. But yeah, it's a bit hard to come up with interesting names around Jazz. Otherwise, it's just Jazz, really.
Nice.
Well, if you listen to
my dad used
jazz, people could use that.
What was that?
Are you talking to me or Ben?
I don't know. I missed a bit. What was yours, Julia?
My dad used to call me J-pop. I don't know why. And he used to sing this really embarrassing song that went with it. And then my mom called me Sissy. That was basically because my brother's older than me, so then I was just automatically Sissy when I was born.
Aww.
That's
So
cute.
You just reminded me. I think my grandfather wrote a book about me learning how to ride a bicycle.
Aw.
really?
It was like Jazzy Legs learns to ride a bike. I just remembered that.
Julia, you should definitely learn to enjoy some Japanese pop.
Yes.
Just
Then
the J-pop can come back.
So, are you guys ready to talk about the book?
This purple beauty right here, absolutely. I love this book.
Lads, chat, should we try and keep things spoiler-free to start with, or are we just gonna like go all out?
We could.
I know. I guess we could talk about maybe like what we rated it.
Sure. All right.
True.
Go Go ahead.
Ula. Who called who Ula?
Oh, that was my aunt, and my cousins used to call me Ula because they couldn't say Julia.
Oh,
that's cute. My little nephew calls me Debin.
Okay, so what did you guys rate?
I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah, I think I gave it 3 too.
I gave it 2.5 to 3 stars.
That's far more accurate than I ever am with my ratings.
Yeah, I try and stick to a solid star rating, I guess. Otherwise, it probably would have been like 2.5-ish. Wasn't great.
I rate them in 3 different categories: setting, plot, and characters. Through 5, and then I just do the math to see what the average is. So I guess I do a 2 decimal point thing. But Goodreads doesn't allow you to do that, or even a half-star rating, so I just round down to the lowest star.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember who knows this and who doesn't, but I do my like little star ratings where I have 5 categories. That was my Flame in the Mist one. And then I just like average it and then pick the closest star. But it was 3.
I just literally am like, oh, do I like this book? Do I really like this book? Do I kind of like this book? You know, and so on.
I think the general consensus that we kind of liked, but also kind of didn't like this book.
It was okay. Yeah. There's room for improvement.
Yeah, there was so much room for improvement. Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna lie though. I feel like this is a 392-page book. It could have been like 250.
Right?
If they had cut out all of the repetition.
Just get rid of all the extra.
Been a much better.
Every single time that she added a dramatic one-liner, I started towards the end going through and crossing out the lines that I thought was unnecessary as I was reading. I just like had a pencil and was like, didn't need that part.
That's great. You should be an editor.
It could have been so much shorter.
I literally could not, it did not catch my attention the whole first half of the book. I was like, when is this going to get interesting? It's just so slow.
Even the first scene with action where she has to use the thing from her hair, the pin needle or whatever it is. That scene, like it was written to sound like it was supposed to be really high tempo, but I was like, okay, she just did the thing for anybody, but is it all right if I just go ahead and say it? She just stabbed the guy. Great. This is boring.
He definitely deserved it.
Oh yeah, definitely deserved it. I feel like most of the characters got what was coming to them. Although, did you notice that all of the male characters that die in this book suffer before they die, but the females don't? No. Two females died. Chio and then the other young woman. Both of them are specifically stated to have died quickly. Suffered, especially the dude with the tree. Oh my god. I was a little irked by that.
Interesting. I didn't really notice that. I was too busy just getting frustrated at the book in general.
I actually read a couple reviews, Jasmine, and a lot of people said the same thing about it being repetitive. And like, I listened to a lot of it on audiobook, so I didn't notice it as much. But I did read it that a lot of people thought that.
Yeah, I've read that and a few people have said that that's like a writing style that she's known for from other books as well. That she just like doesn't seem to be that great at writing, so she just gets like all these dramatic one-liners that just repeat what she's already said over and over and over.
That was another thing.
Like, she literally just spent so much time doing that she didn't even explain some of the things that really needed explaining. I felt like there was so many magic things and stuff that was going on that I was like, I can't picture this because you're not spending enough time on it. Because she was too busy doing drama instead.
Right. Like all that stuff with the wolf and how he just basically vibrates in the air. Okay, I can't picture this. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then
I
like
was so confused by the woman for a while.
Yeah. I just pretty much all of the kind of fantasy elements that she was imagining and trying to bring into the book, I just couldn't I couldn't picture it at all. I just had no idea what she had in mind for it. And then like random scenes that she threw in at the end with like the Emperor's what do they call them? Like mistress lady, and the fact that she's like walking into a tree into another world that's like in the second last chapter out of nowhere. I was like, what? Where did this come from?
I understand that it's probably just meant to try and set something up for the second book, and I can understand what she's trying to set up with it, because let's face it, we do find someone in the tree. And I was actually really surprised. Did you realize who she was talking to?
Yeah, the dude that died at the start, right? Not the start, like the warrior guy.
That was really good, but the was just out of nowhere. And then the last scene, totally saw it coming.
Yes, and she didn't even spend enough time on it anyway. Like, you saw it coming because we knew, like, because it's an obvious plot twist, but then, like, she's just kind of, like, does it in one sentence and then cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Anyway.
Did you guys
I hate how much...
when the main character turns, like, she tells Okami that she's, like, a girl, or that he finds out that she's a girl or whatever, not tells him, but then they're, like, finding out one minute, and then they're, like, making out the next, and he doesn't even really have time to process that she's a girl now. Like, I felt like there should have been, like, something, like, more processing time. Like, not, like, you're a guy one minute, now you're a girl, let's make out, you know?
Yeah. It reminded me of the meme thing that they do about Mulan, where Li Shan's like questioning his sexuality throughout the whole song of Be a Man. And at the end, he's like, yep, I'm definitely gay now.
But about the whole thing between the two of them, page 275. I despise this page for 2 sentences. Did she truly despise him, or did she desire him?
Yeah.
No, that's not okay.
But she just wrote stuff like that all the time, though, about characters. Like, she just... her attitude towards everyone in the Black Clan was just complete and utter blindness.
Yes. She was so ignorant.
Like, she just sat there and she was just like, they slaughtered everyone. They're slaughterers, they're murderers, they're horrible, without actually even thinking about whether or not the reality matched up to her expectations there.
And then she wouldn't even sit there and try and consider why these guys became the way that they are. She thought, oh, they were just born and raised to be brigands and thieves and murderers, and trying to think what brought them to where they are. And then when she does start learning a few things about the Black Clan, she gets really flabbergasted because she didn't think about it at all.
But she not only gets like flabbergasted, but she's like, no, it can't be true. I have to hate these people over and over again.
Oh.
She was so stubborn.
And then, of course, when she meets the shadow wolf in the forest again, and then the scene that follows, all of that, it's like, oh yeah, I totally knew this was going to happen. No, you didn't. Don't lie to me.
Yeah.
I was so upset about that.
She did, and again, with the lack of explaining, like, that was one of the scenes that could probably done with a bit more background knowledge to it, or like just a little bit more elaboration. And it was one of the scenes that didn't. Just
the one
take
that
all of the unnecessary sentences and all of those words and just rewrite them into something that you can add to that section instead.
Yes. Reallocate word count, please.
We have a non-book reader here.
Did you guys think it was weird how she was like talking about how she wanted to go find who was trying to kill her so that her family wouldn't question her virtue? Because doesn't it seem weird that she's like trying to make her virtue be like untainted, but then she's going to go spend more time with a bunch of guys? I feel like that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. I felt like the stuff that she was saying more often was like that constant nailing home of the sentence, I'm going to prove myself to be more than the marriage market or worth more than the marriage market, over and over again. Which, like, I'm not going to say I disagree with as a feminist woman, but it was just kind of annoying that she had to keep saying it and that she had no other motives or interests.
I thought she was a little bit the whole virtue department, because there's the scene where she talks about how the day she finds out that her marriage has been set upon, she decides to do that whole thing with the worker boy and didn't even think
Which, again,
didn't even think
like,
about
that was something that happens in ACOTAR as well. Is this like a common fantasy trope that female characters are just like marriaged off and then take control of their sexuality by choosing who they're losing their virginity to?
I have no idea. I've only read about 80 pages of ACOTAR. I need to get back into it. I'm hoping to after Booktube-a-thon.
Good. It's worth the reading.
At lightning speed. I was like, we're gonna do, you know, Akabor as our first book, and she read like all 3 of them in like, what was it, like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks?
1 week.
That is impressive. Those are like, what, 600-page books?
Well, I was horribly sick, and so I like wasn't working either. And I read ACOTAR in a day. I read Akamath in just over a day, and then I read Akawar in a day, and then I reread Akamath as soon as I finished the last one. So I read them all, plus the second one again in a week.
That's crazy.
I wish I could read that fast. I'm a terribly slow reader.
This is one of the rare occasions when I have read fast this year, to be honest. I mean, I've been reading the same book for 3 months now, so since then.
I remember in high school I would read books like Spiritbound by Rochelle Mead, how those like 400 or 500 page books in a day, like nothing. But now I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm the same. And my little sister, who's like about to start high school next year, she reads books, like multiple books in a day. She's just so fast. And that used to be me in high school and primary school, just like reading so fast. And now I'm like as slow as hell. But I think it's kind of a good thing because I'm paying more attention to what I'm reading. So I'm okay with it. I just like.
I definitely absorb more in the first read than I do in than I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think it just takes me so long to read because I have so many kids.
Yeah.
That definitely keeps up some reading time.
Life gets in the way.
For sure. Did you guys expect like more action in the book? Because I thought there was going to be like, just because it like based on the fact that everybody was saying it's kind of like a Mulan retelling or loosely based on Mulan, I was kind of thinking action, war kind of stuff.
I
definitely agree. I also expected.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No. Nope. Nose goes. Ladies first. I have to pull that card. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I felt like it was like building up to action the whole time. And then the moment the action started was like when the book ended. Like it felt like everything was building up to that moment where they all have the conflict at the end. But then like they didn't even finish that battle. And they were just like, next book.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree. Like it was so much build up, so much just in the camp preparing with weapons, wondering what's going to happen here. When is everyone going to find out this, that, and the other? And then like it never actually kind of concluded or had an arc, it just kind of stopped.
Sure, I definitely hit a wall. I also expected a lot more from the man from the lean-to, the bar, the guy who gets his hand all messed up by Okami.
Yeah.
Because I expected him to be the Attila the Hun of the book. Because they even described his man in the woods as the Vulture, which I definitely replaced in my brain with Hawk. sort of Hun and not this whole feud between the families, the Empire, and the Black Clan.
Yeah, there was some odd stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys think of the brother?
Mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings.
As a brother, I want to kick him in the back of the head.
I can't tell if it was her inability to like write characters properly or if it was like him actually being weirdly complex, but he was just like started off the book one way, ended the book a completely kind of different way with no kind of proper journey in between, just sort of like
it was just like
a flick. Yeah.
Well, there were small hints to that he wasn't as honorable as he projects himself. I think that in the beginning we do see a lot of his public persona. We do see a lot of how people perceive him. And then the more scenes with him in it, we can see he's actually not a good person. Like the first hint for me was when they were walking back from the Jukai Forest the first time, and he kicks that man in the face for singing the song. Really?
Yeah, that was definitely odd.
And then it just built up from there, so apparently he just has anger issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the bit that I didn't get. Like the whole idea of the kind of theme of, Vision being deceiving and like you like taking things at face value instead of realizing there's more going on beneath the surface is kind of like the main thing she was talking about in the book. And I get that. But the anger issues thing that kind of went on top of that, I was like a bit not sure whether it was necessary or if it was just a bit odd. You get what I mean? Like the whole concept of thinking that you're honorable and following the way of honor, but actually being like a nasty person through that was really interesting, like the kicking the dude in the face or whatever it was. But then like randomly just like exploding and murdering people and not remembering how or why.
That I think might
like
be
that's like manly samurai guy, but then she ended up just painting him like in a like hostile kind of way instead of being manly and awesome.
I think that the whole exploding and then the scene at the lean-to, I think all of that, because we didn't actually get to see it happen, we just get told that it's happened. There's a single sentence where she says, through his perspective, that the gray wolf or something.
Yeah, that its eyes glow yellow and then go back to being something and then it disappears with the flower. And
I think that was Nobutada.
It's implied that he's been set up or something like that. But even after that, they kind of, like from that point on, he struggles with a lot of weird anger issues.
So I'm wondering if maybe he has some kind of type of possession going on. Maybe Nobutada is affecting his mind. Because it is,
and that's the kind of stuff that I could have done with being written about more instead of being angry at the Black Clan.
And also, this is me trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt because he could just be a terrible person. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's
So I just maybe he's trying to build it up for the next book. Like he's gonna have some kind of something happen that will explain it.
I think trying to save the girl in the tree is going to be his redemption arc. Hopefully.
Right.
I don't know. Far out, dudes.
Are you guys gonna read the second book?
Eventually.
Yeah.
As I just finished it, I feel
the second book, or is it going to become a series?
Oh.
We don't know.
It's just a duology, but I could be wrong.
If it's a duology, then yeah. If it's not, then I'll probably wait until more. Because I don't think I can handle more cliffhangers and things like that.
It's not even so much the cliffhangers. If it's a like 4-series book, I'm just not going to keep reading her repetitive writing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would read the next one just because of the fact that I think I said, where did I say this? Was it on Goodreads? Have I not posted it yet? Maybe I haven't posted it yet. I can't remember. I wrote a review of this and I can't remember if I've already said it or not. But I think I said something like I would read the next book, but only because I feel like I've only got half a story, so I feel like I need to actually finish the story rather than feel much interest in it. Like, I feel like someone's actually just taken my book and ripped it in half, and now I'm waiting to find the other half.
That might be why there's so much repetitive writing. Who knows? She might have wanted it to be a standalone, and then whoever is her editor might have said, hey, let's make it a duology because we need to sell more books. But again, trying to give someone the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know that I'll actually read it. I feel like I might say that I'll read it, but I just have so many other books that I want to read before then that I'll just never get to it.
Yeah, that's the other point. It's like, this isn't even going to be coming out until who knows when next year. I've probably forgotten about it by then as well.
Yeah.
True. Unless Booktube hypes it up again, because that is a big reason how this got on my radar in the first place, was that this was so hyped up.
Yeah. The second one, let's see if it has a publishing date yet. It doesn't have a date yet, so it might not even come out till the end of next year. I guess it did just come out, right? So then that would make sense.
So I had a question about what do you guys think about the fact that there's, like, people are saying that this is a Mulan telling, and then other people are saying that it can't be a Mulan telling because it's set in Japan?
I don't think that really, I mean, it could be a loose retelling, you know, like they say that the A Court of Thorns and Roses series is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it's very, like, not, like,
yeah,
it kind of is.
I think that
for
stuff like ACOTAR's, the series, and then this, I think it would be more accurate to say original story inspired by rather than retelling.
That's like what I would.
Yeah.
Like how Netflix likes to take all of these books or movies and then make them mini-series and call them original when they're not original stories at all.
Yeah. Right? I guess if you wanted to get nitpicky, you could say that there's a difference between a retelling and something inspired by something. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that, like, this book is clearly Mulan inspired.
Oh, definitely.
When we were reading it, which is pretty obvious. When she sits there actually loosely quoting Mulan songs in the story.
It was in the 120s. Hang on, I marked the page because I laughed incredibly when I did it.
It does it all the time, though. And then it's in the end scene where they become the clan, and it's actually like their motto. Swift as the wind, fit as fire, strong as the mountain, mysterious as the moon.
I'm not gonna lie, that song has been on a Spotify playlist of mine, and every time it comes on, I become the world's best singer. My car becomes a stage.
Have you guys seen the Google Translate cover of that? Oh man, there's some YouTube channel that sings like Google translated versions of things where you translate it into another language and then back into English. And so he's done of Be a Man, and it's wonderful. It is my favorite thing on the planet.
That's great.
You should 100% go and watch it after this.
Also, if you have seen that one, I recommend looking up the Jackie Chan cover / medley. They take the original track with all the English lyrics and all that, it's the translation in Chinese, and they put them over one another, and it is fantastic.
Oh, that sounds interesting too. Yes.
You guys are going to have to link these videos to me on Twitter so I can watch them.
Yes,
I'll do. I'll probably be doing it right now. Now I just really want to think about him finding out that he's gay. Ah.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I think my favorite thing from Mulan is that screen cap where he like grabs her by the shirt and it's in her face, and then it says all he had to do to end the movie was look down.
Yes.
I died.
That's awesome.
Every time.
I love in Mulan at the
second one.
What was that?
What?
Do you have any predictions for the sequel? Or do you just not?
I'm not sure that I care too much, but there's a lot of conspiracy going on with like the Emperor's wives and the Shadowland, like that's involved in it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know.
And the whole thing where they switched names, I did not see that coming. I wasn't like so much shocked by it. I was genuinely confused. Like, wait, which one's which now?
Oh, that I saw coming. I thought that's what you're talking about. Like, I saw that coming a mile off.
Oh, no, I saw the very last scene coming with the tea ceremony.
Oh.
I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah, well, that one, yeah, that too, definitely that. But I thought you were talking about the name swapping because, like, I don't know, I guessed that a while back in the book. But yeah, like, no explanation, right?
As soon as it happened, though, I saw all the foreshadowing.
Swap. And then, like, no background, no explanation, just deal with this what you will, and we're moving on now. Not that I can really judge, because, like, I couldn't write a story to save myself, but it still annoys me.
I think that anybody who reads as adamantly as those on Booktube do definitely have the skill to be a very successful author. Because we all have our own little quirks that we're like, no, that is not going in my book. Get out of here. I've caught myself doing that a few times.
Read 1,000 books and your words will flow like a river.
And besides that, you're not a writer. You don't think you can't write, right? You don't have those moments.
Sorry, what?
No, it's awful. I stir my pen.
Did that help get your point across?
Yeah, because
yes, it did.
It sticks.
Yeah.
Favorite character? Who is your favorite? I definitely have some personal bias going in, but mine is Yoshi. I love the chubby cook. They are always my favorite. Like, I was very much reminded of Dr. Chef from A Long Way to a Small and Angry Planet, which is funny because it's that person's literally a cockroach person. But chubby cooks that are always there with a kind word and cheap but delicious meal. I love that character.
I couldn't read it without thinking of the dinosaur thing from Mario.
Yes. Me too.
Yes. Yep. Do either of you have a favorite character, or do you just again?
There was someone that it wasn't necessarily my favorite, but the leader guy of the camp, whose name swapped, so I have no idea what to even call him. He reminded me of like a character from a movie or something that I'd seen, or someone that I knew in the past, so I quite liked him. I honestly, like, there was something about him that I couldn't put my finger on that he reminded me of.
One line from his perspective that really stuck with me was when he and Okami are speaking in his tent, and it's just when he's giving the order, all right, you're going to start training Sonata with swords. Well, I don't want to. Well, you're going to do it anyway. And then there's like that internal thought where it says something along the lines of, even a howling wolf needs to be silenced, or something like that. It definitely hit home for me that he understands what it takes to be in charge, even when there's something that you don't want to do, that you have to.
He was a really good character, I thought.
I definitely respect that character a lot.
Yeah. I really liked a lot of the stuff that he was doing. And the way that he kind of, you know, interacted differently with everyone in the clan depending on what he needed from them or what they needed to be able to achieve.
Yes, he's a very no BS person. Cuts straight to the chase and lets you know what he needs from you and will get you what you need to accomplish it. What about you, Julia?
I honestly missed what you guys were talking about because I was reading the chat. I'm really awful about listening and reading at the same time. Like, it's one or the other.
I'm the same way. It's okay.
But they were saying some interesting things, so.
So the Wrath and the Dawn duology, at least the first one is supposed to be 1001 Arabian Nights inspired, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I watched a review of someone talking about that. Sorry, what?
Have you read it? I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read it. No, I only watched a review where someone was like, I knew that it was supposed to be that, and knowing that meant that it didn't really what's the word? She felt like it didn't actually build on it into any kind of unique story, so it felt like you were kind of just rereading the story of 1001 Arabian Nights instead of actually anything that was new and unexpected. So I don't know, but I haven't read it, so I can't actually.
I haven't either, but I've only been talking to one person about it, and she adores it, but which is why she wants to read The Flame, the Mist. But I honestly haven't looked up any reviews. I only knew that it was by the same author.
I own it. I just haven't. I bought it like when I first started Booktube books, and I still haven't read it yet.
I think everyone has one of those books, though. Like, I have all of the books from The Infernal Devices and The Mortal Instruments, and I have not read one.
I bought Lady Midnight when it came out, and I haven't read any of those books. Icus on Fire.
I just feel like there's so much going on. I'm never going to catch up.
I think there's so many of those books that it's like, where do I start with this?
Right? And also, I'm really, I'm a stickler on character. Like, if you want them built as a certain kind of person, they need to behave a certain way. Terrible villain, they need to be a terrible person, not someone that your reader is going to try and sympathize with. If you have the perfect gentleman, he'd best be a perfect gentleman. And apparently Will Herondale is the bee's knees when it comes to proper male characters. So I'm afraid that if I read this, it does some terrible things that I'm not going to like. It'll just make me have a distaste for the entire series. So I'm kind of just hesitant to pick it up.
Yeah.
What was that about? Sorry, I was chatting instead of listening.
I just haven't picked up Mortal Instruments and Infernal Devices because I am such a stickler on character. With the way that Will Herondale is gushed about as like the perfect gentleman and all this, and how he's just such a great guy, I feel like if I read it and really he's just kind of Joe Schmo with some special powers or a little bit of good behavior, I'm just going to be really let down and not want to read the rest of it.
I don't know that I'll ever end up reading those books either, but I don't really know why. It's just because I'm not as interested.
The more time passes, the less likely I am to pick it up, honestly. I've just lost all interest.
I tried watching the series and just thought it was like way so cheesy. I liked the movie, but the series was like
I did like the movie, although I hated that Cersei was the woman who plays Cersei was in it and was a character that I actually cared about. I was like, you can't make me not hate Cersei. Please don't make me do that. So that's because of Game of Thrones.
She's such a good actor.
She is so skilled. Absolutely.
I don't know how to say her name. That's why you hate her so much.
Good? Yeah. Like, I was kind of floored. I was watching Mockingjay and found out that the woman who plays Brienne of Tarth is actually in that film.
Yeah, she is.
As one of the commanders. And she did an amazing job in that too. She's a very skilled actress.
And she's in a new TV show or movie or something that's coming out soon with Elizabeth Moss and a couple of other people in it that looks really good too. She's like, she's got a really good career now. Elizabeth Moss.
But it sounds good.
Is in Mad Men and in The Handmaid's Tale.
I need to watch that because one of my favorite characters from Orange is the New Black, the actress is in that as well. I need to watch
Samira Wiley.
Yes, very great actress.
She is so good. Oh gosh, Orange is the New Black.
She was in 300?
I don't know who
which
was in
character was in 300?
I don't know which part of the show that was.
You guys
I have to say,
Jane the Virgin?
actors. Okay. Jane the Virgin. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
She was
So
the Queen
good.
of Sparta. She was the Queen of Sparta in 300. She did an amazing job in that film. She looked very different. She definitely she does really good with a regal character. Somebody with presence.
She does.
She does an amazing job.
She's like intimidating as hell whenever you see her in real life.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, if I met the woman, I would just shrink away to the wall because I'm not getting in her way.
Yeah, I'm going anywhere near her.
I never noticed her in any of those movies that you talked about. I never noticed that was her.
Oh. Oh.
I didn't notice.
I have the same kind of opinion. Speaking of people who come across as really regal. Oh, man. Chaos.
It's funny, though. I didn't notice it was her in those movies until after I watched Game of Thrones and then watched that movie again. Like watching Game of Thrones, I didn't think, oh, this is the Queen from Sparta. I had to rewatch the original thing I saw her in to recognize her.
She was in a lot of movies. Like,
yeah. Her filmography is a mile long.
Prejudice and Zombies. She was in that.
I haven't read Pride and Prejudice, but I haven't seen that movie either because of how wonky Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer was.
Pride and Prejudice. Is she in that?
She's in the
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh, and Zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, because there's another actress in Game of Thrones who was in Bride and Prejudice, the Bollywood version of Pride and Prejudice, and I can't see her without thinking of it. I can't take it seriously because all I could think of is her in this Bollywood film.
Who is she? Who's she playing?
I can't remember her name. Is it Ilaria Sant, Oberyn Martell's lover?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, I know who you're talking about now. That woman. Her character had some development in the last episode, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, she's in a movie called Bride and Prejudice, which is like one of my favorite childhood movies. With like,
I'm going to have to watch that. That sounds great.
It's by the same people who did Bend It Like Beckham, if you ever saw that.
Oh, I have an interesting question. From Booktube, is who in this book?
In this book? Ooh. Oh, I don't want to cast anyone in this book. I don't like most of the characters.
That's why it's an interesting question. Because it's a terrible one.
I guess Ben you can be the chef if you want.
I'm sure it's for that.
I don't even know what characters are there. Let's start up our character list first because I can't remember.
So we have the Emperor, his two sons. I can't remember any of their names. I'm terrible for that. I'm sorry, except I can remember Raiden. Older of the two, but not in line for the throne, which I thought was awkward, but then they explained why. We have Kenshin, who is the Dragon of Kai. We have Okami, Ranmaru, Ren. Of course, Mariko herself. We have the people who worked at the lean-to. We have the bandit who had his hand all messed up. Although, if I had to cast anyone specifically, I think that Steve Donahue would be the old man with the wooden leg. Just old and wise and angry.
Love it.
I think that would be perfect.
The only female characters I can think of are like Mariko and the geisha sister.
Yeah.
Like Mako.
Yumi,
yeah, but she wasn't a geisha. She was is it called a Mako?
Yes, a Maiko.
Mako.
It came to be a
and then like the two Empress ladies.
It's the same. Yes, the Empress Lady, the Witch, and then I cannot
Like
remember her name.
4 female characters.
And then Amaya, the
Oh yeah.
blacksmith. So which ones are still alive? Because I want that to be you two, because I would feel terrible if your character died.
And Mariko and the 2 witches.
Honestly, I expect the actual witch to win, because I think that the Empress is gonna lose that game.
I can't even tell what their motives are still. Like, I just haven't had enough explanation.
Fight for one another, which is terrible. The actual Empress is just angry at the witch because
surely there's more to it than that, though.
That's all that she's getting, which is terrible.
That's all that we've got so far from them. Classic. I don't want to be any of these characters. They're all annoying.
We could change the question to who you would cast them in a different movie, because I think that we were talking about that earlier, right?
The Beauty and the Beast one.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but Jasmine is instantly going to be Belle because science reasons.
Science reasons.
I'm
okay with
I want to be the feather duster. So I get to be the feather duster.
The feather duster. Yes.
Yeah, that.
Oh gosh. I love it.
Yeah.
Who are you, Ben? Were you Gaston? No. The candle.
Is it the beard? I want to be Cogsworth. I like being the cranky old guy.
Oh, that's cute. Who else can we cast?
I'm thinking Cam is either Lumiere or Chip, because he has that really smooth side to him, or the really comical, childish side, which I love both, and they are fantastic. So it's going to be one or the other. I can't decide which.
I quite like him as Lumiere if he's going to be like working with you to create the comedic relief.
Yes, I think we'd have a good back and forth. Who's going to be Mrs. Potts?
Chip?
Who is our most adorable Booktube friend? Or does it need to be like someone's kid?
The only people that I know that
has kids, I should be Mrs. Potts. I'm shutting my blinds. Hold on.
Yeah, I think if the only people that I know that are family that do Booktube are Books and Looks, and then Whitney of A Darker Shade of Whitney, and that Howler are together, but that's not really family. That's choosing family.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Mike and Becca from Books and Looks because they're just so cute.
They are very.
Yes.
Got to be in there.
Who are they though?
So who are they? Yeah, who are they? Who we got? That's a couple in there. The piano and
the piano and the wardrobe.
The piano and the wardrobe, or it could be Mrs. Potts and Belle's father.
Oh.
That's
but they don't have
Mrs. Potts and.
Oh, that doesn't matter. That's cute. Who's got to be Gaston though, and LeFou?
Oh my gosh, LeFou! I love.
Who's gonna be LeFou?
I'm thinking Adrian and Dalton.
I don't know him.
Adrian and Dalton are the guys who started Stripped Cover Lit, but I think that now that channel's just ran by Adrian.
Ah, okay.
Interesting. What was that thing we were talking about that we were going to talk about at the end of this? About the shout out thing?
Ben?
I was going to do a shout out thing?
You had a question you wanted to ask us about a shout out thing.
I mean, I said I was going to give my sister a shout out for providing the extra laptop in case mine didn't work, but I thought I did that already.
No? Was that it?
Oh no.
That's not a question.
It's not a question at all. Oh no. No, that's off screen. I remember what I was talking about now. No, that's gonna be a Twitter conversation.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Sassy gossip.
Nonetheless. Yeah, got a snort laugh. That's how I know I'm actually funny. Because people can fake a normal laugh. They can't fake the ugly laughs.
That was an ugly laugh. That was a cute laugh, all right?
They're called ugly laughs, but they're not actually ugly. Unless it's me doing it, because I get all red-eyed and my face gets red. It's terrible.
I do the demented seal thing if I am in a particularly bad mood.
I do it too.
But with like no sound because I can't breathe.
My husband says that I go like I'm sucking the saliva back in my mouth when I laugh. He's like, that's disgusting.
That's great.
I love it. I have like a Pinterest board of all the funny like Tumblr posts and things I've come across over the last 4 or 5 years. And every now and then I'll just go and look back through them at all the things that I previously found funny. And every time I end up like just not being able to breathe with tears down my face laughing. And I'm like, well, at least I still think I'm funny, or like the same things are funny.
I'm the worst at thinking I'm funny. Like, I'll make a joke and laugh, and nobody else is laughing. I'm like, oh.
I laugh at my own jokes all the time, so it's perfectly fine. I mean, I laugh at my jokes every time I film a video. I just cut that bit out.
I love it.
Because I've made myself ugly laugh before, and it's atrocious. My favorite one, I think I actually just put in the bigger group chat on Twitter, was the why does Waldo wear stripes? Because he doesn't want to be spotted. It's such a simple, dumb joke, but I died.
Because he doesn't want to be spotted. Ah.
Come on.
My boyfriend, and like you and my boyfriend would get along so well because he is the worst at dad jokes as well, and just like all of those pun jokes. And he tries to tell them, and I just sit there like, you need to stop now. Please stop. And then he just keeps retelling them until I laugh. So he just sits there and he's like, come on, you're going to do it. I'll tell you again. Until eventually I'll be like, nice one.
I'll just plan a trip to Australia and we'll go to Hanging Rock. It'll be fine. The entire hike, we'll just be telling jokes.
Yes. Come to Australia. He's actually going to America in September without me.
What?
Rude.
I know. And he's like going to all these places that are near where so many people I know live now. Like if he'd gone before I was on Booktube, I'd be like, whatever, go for it. But now he's going and I like know so many people in America. I'm like, you're so close to them. If that was me, I'd be talking to this person and that person, but I can't.
Do you know if he's going to be in the New England region at all?
Where is New England? Where is New England?
Top northeast.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I will definitely have to see if he's in town, and I'll take him out to a drink or something. It'll be a good time.
Oh, I'm gonna be so jealous. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I can't afford to.
Australia, somewhere in the UK, where it's really hard to get hardcover books. I always forget who has which complaint about America having such open market to books.
Australia has pretty bad access to books, but we have pretty bad access to everything.
So I'll just put together a care package for him to bring home to you. So that way it doesn't have to have international shipping on it.
Why do so many countries have like bad access to book though? Just because they don't have like Amazon and stuff, or what is it?
Yeah, Australia pretty much doesn't have Amazon. Like it kind of does, but not great.
That's crazy.
And I just like, we are really far away from pretty much everywhere else in the world, so it's just really hard to get stuff to Australia in the first place. So
expensive to ship.
Yep. I think I spent like I think it might have been to you, Jazz, for the book I sent. It was like $35, and it was a 2-pound book.
Yeah. Yes, postage is quite expensive. Which is why
I had to bump up the postage on my boxes for international shipping to like $30 because some places it's like $30 or $40 to ship to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out the cheapest way to ship all of my teas when I get onto it, and like it's a nightmare. Like I'm going to be footing so much money just trying to keep shipping down in order for people to even want to buy my teas from Australia. Like, why would you want to buy them from Australia when you have to pay that much to get it shipped to you that it's not even balancing up in price anymore?
Yeah.
Some of them are like $45 shipping. So, but that's why we have small teas, and we send them in envelopes, so we get letter postage.
That's how I do my bookmarks.
Smart.
The cheapest way to do it. Like, I think it's like $1 to ship that way for me.
Nah, it's not even. That's still expensive, even when it's letter, but it's better, at least. What else? What else has everyone been reading this month?
I read Juniper Lemon's Happiness Index, and it was really good.
Oh yeah, that was the BCAT book.
Yes, it was awesome.
The only other book I finished this month was Sometimes I'm So Smart I Almost Feel Like a Real Person. Like it was right up my alley. But so it's this guy, I can't even remember his name right now. Oh, we never actually learned his name. I found out at the end. It was pretty interesting. He goes by a handle on YouTube called Leverage. So that's all he calls himself throughout the entire book. And we see through his day-to-day, he's falling for this girl, and his YouTube channel is terrible dating advice, but he thinks it's good dating advice. It was a mess. The review on that one, I ended up, I think that one also got a 3-star, mostly because character brought the rating down a lot. Setting and plot were fantastic. I just did not like the characters very much. But we see him handling his day-to-day, being in love with this girl, trying to like appropriately court her. It does or does not work out well for him, and then he ends up dealing with the aftermath. It just felt like the first half was a lot of buildup and could have been a lot shorter.
I think I remember you talking about that one.
Feels a lot like this one.
The characters were supposed to be hated or not hated. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, like in the beginning, I definitely detested the main character, but he goes through a very quick character arc towards the end that kind of redeemed him, so I'm not really sure how I feel about him. It wasn't a terrible read, but everything else would have been much better if I just liked the character, because everything else, like the plot and setting, were like 4 and 5 star. Character was 2.
Very much like this book then.
But that's also because I am a huge stickler on character, which is why I'm not picking up the Mortal Instruments right now.
Cool. Well, I read A Monster Calls and The Alchemist as well.
I need to read The Alchemist. It was on my TBR. I'm hoping I might be able to read it either tonight, tomorrow, or Sunday. I have a book for review that I'm giving precedence.
Fair enough. It was pretty good.
What is it? It was good. What did you rate it?
You kind of clipped out there. What's the question?
What did you guys rate those books?
Oh, sometimes I'm so smart. I gave it a 3-star rating.
Monster Calls. Monster Calls, I think I did end up giving a 5-star rating. And The Alchemist I gave 4, I think.
Nice.
But that was like a very grudging 4. Like, I rated it 4 because I could see that it was a good book, not because I personally liked it, if that makes sense.
That does. And it is nice to know that people can make that differentiation, because some people just sit there and say, oh yeah, this book is fantastic, it's a 5-star book, when really it was not a 5-star book.
Book that they liked a lot. Yeah, so The Alchemist is like the inverse of that. I was like, it's really, really well written, and like the plot, the characters, and the themes are very cleverly intertwined, and they work really well together. But the like actual message of the book is something that I just didn't fall, so I didn't enjoy it as much myself. But A Monster Calls, just waterworks the whole time.
I need to read that one. That's another one I've had for a long time and haven't read yet.
I was worried because normally when books get hyped up, it's not worth the hype. But this one, I just thought it was so beautiful. Very nicely written. It's like an example of what this chick was trying to do with like the short sentences, but actually done properly.
I'm actually thinking about
so it has like these combination of long, lovely paragraphs with the occasional short sentence. Like it seemed to work really well. And the message. And I just, like, you know what's going to happen. You do. Like, it's not going to have a happy ending, but it's so good.
I'm thinking about doing a live tweeting of my reading for that, because I know that if I try and vlog it, I'll just get too into reading and not remember to pick up the camera. But I can definitely send out a tweet real quick and then get back to the book. So I'm thinking about doing that, because everybody's talking about how amazing it is. And apparently everybody's cried.
One person hasn't.
Reading.
Say again?
I can't really vlog reading. I feel like it's weird to like film myself while I'm reading. Like I'm hyper aware of the camera while I'm reading. So that's all I can think about is the camera watching me while I'm reading.
I actually did a few shots for the BookCon vlog that I did where I was reading. I was not reading in those snippets. I definitely made sure that I was like turning a page that I had already read. I can't read and film at the same time. It's just so weird.
Weird.
Which is why those little snippets were like half a second long, because I'm like, yeah, that's really fake. Let's just get to the next part.
I love it.
I tried vlogging this morning, and Dustin was like in the background sleeping, and he wakes up like as I'm filming, and he was like looks at me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about what I'm doing." And then I decided I'm not going to put that.
I always get really self-conscious about how slow I read if I do film myself reading. I'm like, even though I know it's going to be sped up later, I'm like, I'm taking half an hour to read this page. No one wants to see this.
I don't know if you guys can see it. But... Watch Dustin.
Guys, it's day 2 of Booktube with on, and I just woke up and I'm going to go read.
That's good.
What are you doing?
Oh, I love it.
And then I like walk down the hall, and my house is like trashed because my son has been awake before me, and like, so I was like, I'm not gonna post that. What is The Green Mile?
It's a Stephen
Is that a
King
book?
book and film that will tear your heart out.
Excellent.
It's Stephen
Oh
King, but it's
man,
not
Bridget
really,
Terabithia, why are you bringing that up?
because he said that that's the only thing that will make him cry. Bridget Terabithia makes everybody cry.
Man,
Everyone.
I read that book a long time ago, like in primary school, before I even knew, like I think before it actually got talked about too much, I read Bridge to Terabithia and was like, this is kind of sad. Like, this is a really depressing story. And then like 4 years later, it got really hyped up and everyone was going on about it. And they were like, you need to read this book. It will make you cry. It's horrible. Like, it's so heartbreaking. And I was kind of like, what? But I did. And I didn't. It was ages ago. So that's it. That's my story about Bridget Terabithia.
Have you guys seen the new trailer for A Wrinkle in Time?
No.
What is this?
Oh my gosh, it looks amazing.
There are so many good book to movies coming out like soon or at the moment.
This one has Oprah in it, Reese Witherspoon, and Mindy from the Mindy Project.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes, I know her name. Oh, damn it.
And the guy from
What?
Star Trek. Star Trek?
There's a lot of guys in Star Trek.
The main character of Star Trek
Oh,
movie.
yes, the guy who plays Kirk. But I know who you're talking about.
Gilmore Girls guy. No.
I've only seen like
I'm
the first
watching it now.
half of season 1 of Gilmore Girls.
What else is he in?
If you don't want to tell me everything, that's fine. Just don't lie to me. If your nerve deny you, go above your nerve. Emily Dickinson. Oh my God. What have I done?
Hey, Miss Dickinson.
And will happen again. Somewhere in these universes. Five.
Ooh. Is that it?
What were we just watching? That's not it. I think that's like a fan-made trailer.
Oh man.
Okay. Oh, no.
Let me find- Because the real one is like,
Ah,
What if we are here?
found it.
yeah.
Have you seen the new trailers for It? Rachel
No.
from Rachel Louise Atkin is all about it. So like she is spamming that button on her Twitter, which is fantastic. She's a huge fan apparently. Have you seen her videos? Very.
No. I don't think I've seen any of the trailers for It because I think the trailer will be enough to give me nightmares, let alone the actual movie.
I'm interested in watching it because I
I'm
didn't
not
see the original.
I am the worst, the absolute worst at anything scary.
I feel really bad all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I should have given you proper warnings for my book.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Just a fair warning, I have to go in like 5 minutes. I have to go pick up my kids.
Yes, ma'am.
Fair enough.
Overall, we just thought this book was okay, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone that I know would enjoy it, but I'd have to know their reading taste very thoroughly to recommend it to them.
Yeah.
I think people who are more like amateur readers, people who don't read that often, would probably like it.
Very true. People that read strictly for pleasure, that don't look for some more integrated mechanics.
I feel like the concept or like the idea that she was trying to get at for the overall duology was really interesting, but it just, yeah, wasn't executed well.
Very
so
true.
like, yeah.
If you could kill off any one character in this book, who would it be?
Mariko.
Oh, good one. I think I have to agree.
Did that go the way you
I'd have to say
expected
Kenshin. I'd have to say Kenshin.
Oh yeah, he's pretty bad too.
Yeah, but it's a toss-up between the two.
So pretty much the two main characters. Get rid of them.
Basically. Probably be better, because you know there's going to be some trifling stuff between all the other characters going on anyway.
Right? I just want the Black Clan. Like, let's just write some Black Clan fanfic and forget about everyone else. It's like a reality TV show of what's going on in that little hideaway.
That would be interesting.
I'd watch it. That'd be a good reality show. Or Cooking with Yoshi.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Now you need to do like a fictional cooking show like everyone's been doing. And
oh, yeah.
Did you see what happened when I made a pizza? I burned it.
You burned it?
I made one cooking video on my channel, and I burned a pizza.
I watched it. I didn't know you burned it, though.
On the edges. It was still pretty good. I ate it. I might do something else, though. I might have my cousin show me how to make real rice and beans with some pork chops, and then just make everybody salivate, because pork chops and rice and beans is the best meal ever.
Mm.
I don't know that I've ever had that before.
This is blasphemy.
I've had red beans and rice with like sausage in it.
We'll all have to meet up at like Y'all Fest or the next book con, and I'll just like start cooking in the hotel or something. It'll work out, I promise.
Oh man. If we could all meet up at like any kind of those conventions, anyone, that would just be a dream come true. It'd be like a massive primary school camp.
Yes.
A FundMe page called Fly Jasmine to the United States.
Yes,
I would
please.
donate. I would donate to this.
I want to so badly.
How much are tickets?
I've joked a couple of times that anything that I earn from this tea company is just going to be going straight into a fund to get to America. Like, so when I make it there, it'll just be, I got here through Booktube, basically.
You know what? You can make that a panel and everybody would go. How do you get to travel from Booktube?
That's a fair point.
People would watch. I would be in the front row.
There we go. The colors of your living room based on the banners.
Yes.
I was just reading that.
The only different thing is, like my couch right now, I got it for free, so I ended up putting black sheets on it, but I just did laundry today, so I got to put the sheets back on it, so it matches everything again.
I love it. Which
I can see with the pillows.
Oh.
I'm sorry?
Who, me?
Atlanta's, you got red and yellow.
Oh yeah, you can't see the gray cushions because they're blending in really well with the rest of the couch. And then all of like the coffee table and the bookshelves and all that are either black or brown. Oh, and I have this wonderful pillow. Everyone's favorite. I have to fight people when they come over that this is my pillow.
So Ben, which Game of Thrones house are you?
Oh, I'm definitely Stark. I live in the perfect place in America to call it the North, Winterfell, and then Canada is like north of the wall.
Yeah, that works.
So I think that I was just born to start, and I'm about to knock over my camera. Good lord. But yes, I definitely think I was born to start. What about you, ladies?
I actually just did a quiz a couple of days ago that I'm going to be putting up on YouTube of me finding out my Game of Thrones house.
Oh, there's actual quizzes? I should probably film myself doing these as well. That's a wonderful idea.
Hey guys, I'm going to have to wrap up because my mother-in-law is calling me, telling me to come get my kids.
All right.
Take them back.
It's time
That's
for me to go to
exactly
bed.
what's happening right now.
Okay.
All right. Lovely chatting with you, ladies. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
Excellent
being
chat.
our guest host. We loved having you.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
you're going to make me blush.
Excellent hosting. All right, go rescue those kids.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.